So this video is about Miro Barnashev going to All Elite Wrestling. Most importantly, this is going to be all about TNAEW. TNAEW. That's what this is all about. So on September the 5th, Kip Sabian made a rare appearance on television while he talks about him and Penelope Ford are going to get married. And he doesn't want to just have a best man. He wants to have the best man. Fast forward, September the 9th, AEW Dynamite. Kip Sabian comes out in a belly shirt, like something you would see out of a 80s movie on a teenage white girl. Really bizarre form of dress for an adult man. Okay, especially an adult man that's about to get married. But hey, do you, boo, as they say. He does a couple of bad jokes, which include some big, huge, fat guy who's wearing like more cloth than half of an African village. And then the epic mullet himself, Brian Pillman, who I actually really like, he came out to be part of this nonsense. And then they finally get to they built up with bad jokes. They bring out Miro. And Miro comes out, and then Miro cuts the promo. And guess if he was going to cut a promo on WWE right out of the gate. If that was on your bingo card, put your chips on it. I mean, it's pretty much a given. So he says he spent 10 years under a glass ceiling, grasping for imaginary brass rings, and that they need to shove their brass rings up their ass. He's a destroyer. Elite recognizes Elite. He's in All Elite Wrestling now. He's the best gamer and a bunch of other stuff. Okay, fair. So there's two schools of thought. There's the optimistic. Oh, wow, Rusev. Is he finally going to get his due? This is a good thing. Vince McMahon dropped the ball on Rusev. Rusev is an awesome athlete, awesome wrestler. Rusev Day was over. That's all great. Then there's the pessimistic, somewhat cynical. Oh, here we go. Another guy going to leaving WWE, cutting promos on them when they leave. What a waste of time and energy. I fall right down in the goddamn middle. Let's talk about let's talk about the positives first. Positive, I'm glad Miro has another job. He did lie to me and say that he was retired. He lied. He lied to all of us. Said that he wasn't going to come back. That was not true. He did come back. Okay, whatever. I don't care about that. That's a good thing that Miro is back. I was a fan of his work. I was a fan of Rusev. I give Rusev a thumbs up. It's always good for somebody else to have somewhere to work. But at the end of the day, that's it for the pros. He's found somewhere good to work. Now let's go to the cons. Number one con is that he took money from Tony Khan to promote, one, his Twitch fucking channel, two, his grievance with WWE. This is not concordant with, what you would think if you were investing money. You want somebody to invest in something that you're doing in your program. Now, you had Rusev probably signed up or something like that prior to this event, right? That means you just had a pay-per-view a few days before. Why not put Rusev or Miro in that pay-per-view? Why not put him in that battle royal? Why? Why wouldn't you do that? He didn't need to win. He just needed to be in it. Okay, you could have just put Miro in there, had him destroy some guys, do some stare downs to Lance Archer and Brian Cage, be tough, be big, be strong, and then maybe you spin his first feud out of that battle royal. Some cheater, some dastardly heel pulled the tights, or hit him with a chair or something like that, or a gang of heels threw him out, and he's like, "Dang it, I'm gonna get you guys. I'll get you later." And then we go through all of this stuff. You could have had a big impact. Instead, you teamed him up with a dude who's barely on TV. In most cases, if we're being honest, he's not on TV. Kip Sabian is not relevant to AEW at all. If Kip Sabian never appeared on AEW again, nobody would miss him. Okay? Most people didn't miss him anyway. Most people were surprised he was even on the pay-per-view. Even for the 10 seconds that he was on it, people were surprised that he was on it. So teaming up Rusev, who you think is a top star, a top guy who was ruined by WWE. This is what you said. He's ruined by WWE. You team him up with a low card act like Kip Sabian, a opening match on AEW dark level performer like Kip Sabian. That does not do him any good. What also doesn't do him any good is you bringing him in and you can't use any of the stuff that got him over. Because that's the beauty of the IP law, the intellectual property. Can't use Rusev Day, can't use Rusev at all. So what you going to do, chant the best man day or the best man day? How's that going to work? You know, that's sort of why IP law exists. So that people can't jump ship and take their shit and go somewhere else. So you're really going to have a struggle trying to rebuild this guy. I mean, look, we get it, right? You know, Miro is good. He could probably find some way to get over. We'll see. I'm going to be optimistic on that end. We'll probably find some way. But let's talk about, you know, the promo, because the promo again has been more of the same shit that we've gotten from the TNA days. TNA, hell, sometimes even going back to WCW, they have been doing it. Because I remember Jeff Jarrett left WCW and came over to WWE and started cutting his promo about how WCW wasn't shit. And then he did the opposite when he left WWE to go to WCW. He said it wasn't shit. But TNA, it was almost a monthly thing. It was almost every month somebody popping out of the woodwork. Ken Anderson, Aaron Stevens, Christian. It was just always somebody coming out of the woodwork talking about how WWE was holding them down or it wasn't letting them get over and all this type of stuff. And they were the game changer, the record maker and all this type of stuff. It should have been me. You know, it should have been me. That's their gimmick. It should have been me. But I'm going to ask the same question I always ask. Let's say you're of the opinion that Rusev should have been carrying the big W right now. One of the big W's. Who do you look at as far as the people who've held the big W in the last 4 years or so and say, you know what? Rusev should have got that run. Okay? There's probably like 3 or 4 answers. You could probably say, why on earth did Jinder Mahal become the WWE champion? Well, it was because you look at it, Jinder Mahal was under contract before Rusev was. You know? And and you know what? Jinder Mahal sort of disproves Rusev's argument in the first place. He said, the imaginary brass ring. Like, imaginary? Jinder Mahal was the WWE champion. Kofi Kingston was the WWE champion. These were 2 guys who probably weren't anywhere near the title. You know, Daniel Bryan is another brass ring guy. You know, CM Punk is another one. You can't say the brass ring is imaginary because you couldn't grab it. That's because you weren't on the roster by yourself. All these people talk as if they're the only guy on the roster. Like, you're not. There's a roster full of people who, you know, who should be in that spot, or people who think that somebody should be in that spot. So after Jinder Mahal and maybe Kofi Kingston, some people may say, oh, Kofi shouldn't have been the champion. Well, okay, well, I'll give you that. People say Bill Goldberg. Why was Bill Goldberg the champion? You know, or why was Braun Strowman the champion? Those guys shouldn't have been champion. Or Roman Reigns didn't need to be champion all those many times. Or Seth Rollins didn't need to be champion all those many times. Brock Lesnar didn't need to be champion all those many times. But the fact remains, while Rusev is good, is he better than any of those guys? Well, it's a good conversation to have when it comes to Braun Strowman. It might be, you know, Strowman's bigger, you know, but Rusev is a better worker, you know. So, you know, he was also a better character. So there's some debate to be had, but have that debate. Don't just say bullshit like the brass ring is imaginary, because it's not. It is not. It's very real. So that's my problem. And I think it's becoming TNA. And AEW is just going to become the place where people get paid a lot of money to complain about WWE and promote themselves and then give half-ass efforts because they have such big contracts. And that's pretty much what's going to happen here, I think. But I'm going to be optimistic. I want to say give it 3 months. Let's give it 3 months. Let's give it 90 days. Let's see what Rusev is in 90 days. If he's still hanging out with Kip Sabian in 90 days, then we have a problem. If he's still not doing anything as far as being competing at the upper levels in 90 days, maybe it's a problem. Now, why 90 days? Why not say, well, in WWE, you have to give a guy at least 2 years? Because WWE has more talent. AEW doesn't have that much talent. You know, if you're in the WWE system, you have to give a guy at least 2 years. At least. If you look at the history of how long it takes for you to ingratiate yourself into the system and to get over and to be trusted and to get put in that top spot, it takes about 2 years. Now, beyond that, you know, it's shaky. You know, if it take you 10 years or whatever, it probably was, it's a miracle. Like the Kofi Kingston thing is a fucking miracle. You know, because usually if it take you a decade to get there, you know, well, you weren't never meant to be there. But 2 years, they're usually about 2 years. You know, 2 or 3 years. Jericho took about 2 years. Austin about 2 or 3 years. The Rock 2 years. Undertaker 1 year. You know, but so it takes time. But AEW did not have that level, that depth of talent. Outside of Moxley, Jericho, MJF, you have a bunch of people who could be in that spot, but you don't have people who have the name value as over as Miro was. So he should be able to shoot past some of these guys. Granted that he's still over, because he was able to get the pop, the big pop of shove your brass ring up your ass. I wonder how long that pop is going to last, because that pop doesn't really last that long, dog. It lasts for about 2 weeks. You know, it depends on how many times you go back to that well too, because you might go back to that well again and start trying to throw more shots and all that type of stuff. But we'll see. But I say give it 90 days. Give it 90 days before we get negative on it. But I can tell you right now, the whole thing with Kip Sabian, not good business. That ain't good money at all. Kip Sabian fucking sucks, and it's gonna be rough to try to to get me to believe that you take Miro seriously as an athlete and as a performer, and you've paired him up with Kip Sabian right out of the gate. It's not like he is established first, and now you want to do silly stuff with Kip Sabian. You want to do silly shit from Kip Sabian right out of the gate? Probably not going to work, dog. But let me know what you guys think. Like this video, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you guys later.